the DC universe, power doesn't end at gods, it begins with them. Today we break down the 7 ascending tiers of DC gods, from mythical warriors to omnipotent architects of all reality. Tier 1, Pantheon Gods and New Gods. The first tier of gods in the DC universe starts with the Pantheon and New Gods. These are the gods heroes fight, pray to, or defy. Not cosmic abstracts, but physical beings with unimaginable force. Zeus forged thunderstorms that reshape continents. Hades commands armies of the dead. Highfather and Orion are warriors so powerful that they can stalemate Darkseid at his lower forms. They rule realms, not universes. Mighty, ancient, but still limited by space, form, and ego. The Pantheon Gods, or Old Gods, not to be confused with the Old Gods of Urgrund, who predate creation entirely. Their origins differ between cultures, but they share some defining traits: immortality, superhuman strength, speed, durability, among some others. Ares grows stronger with every war. Hera's authority is tied to devotion and rulership. Zeus commands storms not as magic, but as a birthright. In DC, faith fuels divinity. The more worship a god receives, the stronger and more tangible they become. Forgotten gods fade, but celebrated gods grow terrifyingly powerful. Their influence is grand, but limited. They rule realms, not creation. The New Gods, residents of the Fourth World, were born from the destruction of the Old Gods of Urgrund. They do not dwell on Earth's mystical planes, but they exist outside standard reality in a higher dimensional space known as the Fourth World, split between New Genesis and Apocalypse. Because of their closeness to the Source, the primal font of all creation, the New Gods evolved into near-perfect beings, physically superior to humans, resistance to aging and disease, capable of manipulating vast cosmic technology, and possessing stable DNA beyond natural mutation. The people of New Genesis are strong by default, warriors, thinkers, god princes built from cosmic balance. Apocalypse is different though. Legions of parademons and slaves are weaker, broken by Darkseid's rule, while only the elite, Darkseid, Kalbak, Steppenwolf embody true godhood. Tier 2, Avatars, Agents, and Divine Vessels. Tier 2 represents beings who not merely possess power, they channel it from forces greater than themselves. These are intermediaries between mortal existence and cosmic law, chosen champions, vessels of divine will, or embodiments granted authority by higher entities. Unlike Tier 1, whose power comes from worship, lineage, or inherently divinity, Tier 2 serves as conduits. Their strength is not always their own, but it flows through them. This tier operates like the nervous system of DC cosmology. They enforce divine judgment, execute cosmic will, and maintain metaphysical order. The Spectre. At a full potential, the Spectre belongs much higher on this hierarchy, but in most eras, his power is contained, bounded by a mortal host, or restricted by the presence to maintain balance. In this tempered form, the Spectre functions as a living weapon of divine retribution, capable of punishing sin on a universal scale, warping reality to reflect mortal consequence, executing judgment on gods, demons, and forces, and when unleashed, he is terror itself. When limited, he stands in Tier 2, a god under orders, not a god without limit. Dr. Fate, the Will of Naboo. The Helm of Naboo transforms a mortal into one of DC's greatest sorcerers. Through the ancient Lord of Order, Fate wields forces that transcend magic and physics alike. Reality manipulation, dimensional sealing, and time disruption, universal spellcraft fueled by order itself. But his power isn't his own, it's borrowed, conditional, and occasionally unstable, depending on the host's psyche. Shazam and Black Adam. God-powered, refined. Shazam is powered by 6 divine sources: Solomon, Hercules, Atlas, Zeus, Achilles, and Mercury. Through magical invocation, a mortal child becomes an avatar of legend. Strength rivaling Kryptonians, magic that can challenge gods, willpower tempered by ancient myth. Black Adam mirrors this power with a darker edge, a weapon of rage, authority, and divine fury. But again, their power is granted, not inherent. Revoke the gods, the lightning falls silent. Why Tier 2 is a step behind Tier 1 here, while the Pantheon Gods rule realms. Tier 2 enforces cosmic laws across realms. They bridge the gap between myth and metaphysics. They are powerful, sometimes so terrifyingly so, but the power they wield is never entirely theirs, and above them lie beings who are not servants of cosmic rule, but instead embody the rules themselves. Tier 3. Abstract concepts and endless forces. Tier 3 marks the point where power stops being physical or borrowed and instead becomes fundamental to existence itself. These beings are not gods who hold power, they are power. Emotion, time, imagination, death. They exist whether anyone worships them or not. They cannot be erased without erasing the concept they represent. Tier 1 rules myth. Tier 2 enforces divine order. Tier 3 is reality woven into form. The endless are not siblings by birth, but by purpose. They're the oldest and most essential forces in the universe, older than gods and older than stars. Each embodies a concept that predates creation and will outlive the fall of existence. The emotional spectrum entities, living energies of will and fear. Before creation had shape, emotion had potential. From that potential arose embodied forces: parallax, fear; ion, willpower; the predator, love; the butcher, rage; the light, compassion; Ophidian, avarice; and Adara, hope. They do not feel emotion, but they are emotion. Parallax once corrupted entire sectors of the universe, turned Hal Jordan into a living engine of destruction, and nearly unmade the Green Lantern Corps from the inside out. Ion holds infinite potential, capable of rewriting fate and uplifting mortal beings into near godhood. Motion gives mortals purpose. Entities give emotion form and authority. The Speed Force, the Still Force, and natural energies. The Speed Force is motion, the drive of progress, the eternal forward arrow of time. The Still Force is inertia, decay, stasis, entropy resisting creation. The red connects all animal life. The green binds the planet kingdom, and the clear governs sea and air. These are the ecosystems of cosmic law, not beings in the conventional sense, but they can manifest avatars if necessary, creating champions who rival gods with pure conceptual energy. Tier 4. Monitors and Anti-Monitor. Tier 4 marks the moment DC's hierarchy leaves the realm of concepts and steps into multiversal scale authority. While Tier 3 beings are fundamental forces of existence, Tier 4 beings govern, reshape, test, and even erase universes themselves. These are the architects of continuity, witnesses to infinite Earths, and judges of cosmic design. Their battlefield is not space, but reality itself. The Monitor, the watcher of infinite creation, born from the Overvoid to observe the array of worlds. The Monitor exists outside linear time and continuity. He perceives the multiverse like pages in a book, flipping between timelines as easily as we switch screens. His purpose is simple yet cosmic in scale: catalog universes across the multiverse, contain threats beyond mortal comprehension, stabilize the structure of infinite branching worlds. The Monitor is a guardian, but not a god of emotion or myth. He is a cosmic librarian, ensuring reality does not implode under its own possibility. He is order at scale few beings can comprehend. The Anti-Monitor, devourer of universes. If the Monitor observes, the Anti-Monitor consumes. He is crisis incarnate, a being whose hunger spans realities. During Crisis on Infinite Earths, he annihilated entire universes, reducing infinite Earths to one blended reality. His feats define him. He destroyed countless universes through antimatter waves, threatened the entire multiverse alone, requires armies of heroes, cosmic beings, and gods to stop him. He doesn't conquer planets, he erases existence. He's not death, he's anti-being, the undoing of continuity. The Monitor creates, the Anti-Monitor corrects through annihilation. Together, they form the essential tension of the multiverse: preservation versus collapse. Tier 5. Multiversal Overlords and Primal Forces of Creation. Tier 5 is where power ceases to be administrative and becomes authoritative. These aren't beings who catalog or test universes. They alter them, overwrite them, or birth them from nothing. Perpetua, mother of the multiverse. Before existence took shape, even before the Monitor Trinity formed, there was Perpetua, a cosmic mother of creation. She forged 3 branches of of reality: matter, antimatter, and dark matter. Her children, the Monitor, Anti-Monitor, and World Forger, were created to maintain her design, not the other way around. Reality is her blueprint. Perpetua once remade the entire DC multiverse into a twisted new design powered by fear, lifting Lex Luthor to godhood and warping creation into her image. She wasn't fighting for control, she reclaimed it. The Great Darkness, the anti-source. Where light brings form, darkness brings uncreation. The Great Darkness is not evil. It is silence, stillness, the absence of meaning. It is the shadow cast by possibility. The Great Darkness commands multiverses of corrupted beings, warps cosmic law instead of obeying it, and influenced even the most terrifying gods. Darkseid, at his most ascended, was merely a fragment of this force. Presence birthed angels tremble before it. It is the void waiting behind creation, patient, inevitable. Tier 6. The Presence, supreme god of DC creation. Tier 6 is where divinity becomes absolute. No longer architects, no longer multiversal authors. Here stands the god above all gods, the sovereign of heaven, hell, and every law of creation beneath it. The Presence is not a ruler within reality. He is the origin of reality itself. Where Perpetua shaped the multiverse, where the Great Darkness dissolves it, the Presence is the source of the spark that made either possible. He's not worshipped, he is worship itself. The Presence, Yahweh, the source of all divinity. Across DC myth, he wears many names. Yahweh, he who is. The Voice, the hand of creation, father of angels, creator of continuity. His feats exist beyond scaling. Birthed the Silver City, heaven itself. Forged the souls of all beings, mortal and divine, created the first archangels, Lucifer and Michael, gifted Spectre, the wrath of God, stands above all abstracts, concepts, and multiversal gods. Even the Spectre, judge of sin, destroyer of worlds, is merely a tool, a fragment of divine intent. Lucifer and Michael wield powers that forge creation by speaking it into form, yet they were the servants of the Presence. At Tier 6, we have reached the closest thing to omnipotence the story can present. But DC cosmology hides a final secret, because the Presence is not necessarily the top, not when the very concept of God still lies inside existence. Tier 7, the Source and the Overvoid, beyond all creation. Tier 7 is where the idea of a being begins to break down. This is not a throne above heaven, not a god above gods. Tier 7 is the canvas itself. It's the blank space upon which existence is sketched. It's the medium form from which presence, the multiverse, and every narrative possibility are formed. If Tier 6 is God, Tier 7 is what God exists inside of. This tier represents not characters but metaphysical states beyond being, beyond time, and beyond continuity. The Source, the fountain of all that is and all that ever could be. The Source is infinite wellspring form, which DC's entire cosmology emerges. It's not a person, not a mind, not a will. It is potential, pure and unfiltered. From the Source comes the spark that empowered the old gods, the energies that birthed the new gods, the rules that shaped Perpetua's multiverse, the divine power that fuels Presence creation. Even the gods do not fully comprehend it. Darkseid spent his entire existence attempting to breach the Source wall and died in the attempt. When beings encounter the Source, they do not speak, they do not think, they become part of the truth behind creation. The Source is not the author of the story, it's the paper the story is written on. The Overvoid. If the Source is the wellspring, the Overvoid is the infinite space from which the wellspring emerges, also called the Primal White, the Overmonitor, the blank. The Overvoid is beyond narrative, beyond cosmology, outside existence. When the Overmonitor first encountered DC's multiverse, it regarded it as a lesion, a scribble on an otherwise perfect blank page. The multiverse to the Overvoid is fiction, a tiny, intricate story inside an infinite white expanse. It's not hostile, it's not benevolent, it simply is. Purity without creation, meaning without form. Even the Presence is a figure within the ink. The Overvoid is the absence that allows ink to exist. And that concludes our full hierarchy from mythic gods swinging swords on Olympus to the infinite white page upon which the entire DC omniverse is just a faint pencil line. This isn't just a ladder of power, it's a ladder of existence, a climb from gods to creators to the raw truth behind reality itself.